Yeah, we're live. We are live. It's actually got a lot of stuff done today. Today was really more of a fabrication day than anything else. This actually was fairly easy. All I had to do is go get at a local place, just get a bunch of all thread so that we could stack the stuff up. What I did was went through the cabinets here at West Tech Performance and found out how many. These are all open carb spacers. They've got other ones that are 4-hole and that kind of stuff, and maybe we could stack those in there and it wouldn't make any difference. But what I want to do is I plan on testing this Holley single plate intake manifold for the LS, and we're going to try it with a bunch of different carb spacers because I want to find out if it does anything. Because one of the things that I made for it, I'll show you. So because this is a two-piece intake manifold, we see you got a divider right there. This thing is bolted together. I made this plate right here. What? This plate right here is going to go right in the middle and section these two halves. It's going to go all the way up to the carb flange and basically divide the thing in half. So what's going to happen is we don't know. That's why I want to test it. So we're going to run it the way that it is. We're going to run it divided. I'm even going to take this divider after we run it fully divided, and I'll show it from this side. We're going to notch it out a little bit. So just like they do with it's very common we see that on dual plane intake manifolds all the time. So the divider won't go straight across. We'll notch it out a little bit. We'll see it. First of all, we need to see if it does anything. If it does something, then we'll notch it. If it doesn't do anything, if it's exactly the same as having an open plenum, I don't know why we need to change anything. We can try that, but all I have to do is take it apart. We'll notch that out and kind of see what happens. So that'll be part of the test. Then, obviously, we're going to try spacers. We're going to try, I want to find out if an open spacer on an open plenum manifold, if we see any kind of gain on our combination. So we'll try that, and then we'll just try more and more and more. And obviously, eagle-eyed viewers will go, hey, look, some of those spacers have things attached to them. And yes, they do, because the nitro spacers, both the ZEC setup and this Sniper setup from NOS, they're basically just open spacers. So those will work for what we're doing for our carburetor. So that will be good. So this is all that I could come with to stack them together in the open spacers that they have. They have a couple of other ones they have a bunch of other ones that are 4-hole spacers, but I actually didn't want to mix and match them. And I'm sure I'm going to get this comment from people. Hey, Richard, why don't you do all of these open spacers, and then why don't you do all the 4-hole spacers, and then why don't you do half 4-hole spacers and half open? And then once you alternate them, do a 4-hole and then an open and a 4-hole and an open, and there is no end of combinations that we could put together, especially when you have this many that you're dealing with. The other thing that I wanted to show you is this. We talked earlier about and as a matter of fact, I'll grab the blower to show you, to remind you. So we have an LS that we're running this blower on, which is a Ford from Ford Racing, but basically it's a 2.3 liter. And the kit that was designed to accept this will also accept either one of the Ford Shelby GT500 blowers, both the 122 and the 2.3 from the factory. This is a 2.3. As it turned out, I didn't know that it would, but it fits on our adapter and intake manifold, so we're going to run that blower. But today, because we were in fabrication mode, I had to do a couple of things. We have this elbow. So we have this elbow. It basically bolts on to the blower. So it bolts on right here. You can kind of see. This elbow bolts on right here, like so. We can get that in there, like so. But the elbow is designed to use a big that ActiFab does. So this is which is cool, and we're definitely going to run this. So I'm going to run this on here, and I'll show you how it hooks up. But going into fabrication mode today, what I did was made an adapter. So I already had Tom, the gentleman who designed the blower kit for the LS, has a couple of adapters. So what I did is make another one, which allowed me to test all kinds of different throttle bodies on this blower with this opening. So we can run the factory size LS throttle body, you know, the 3-bolt early one like the one I have on my truck. We also, I'll go ahead and take this off. This is the adapter right here. You guys can see. So this is the adapter right here for the stock throttle body. We'll pull that off. And this is one that Tom did. Demuse Engineering. Get that one out of the way. That leaves us with this adapter. This adapter was designed to bolt onto actually the factory blowers from the GT500. It was designed to bolt on their factory opening, not this one. And what it does is adapt from the oval opening on those blowers to a round opening and accept 105 millimeter throttle body like this. Goes on there like this, you know, 105, 102 millimeter LS throttle body. So that is the adapter for that. What I did was make this very rudimentary adapter, and that allows me to bolt on this adapter to run the 102 and this adapter for the stock throttle body, as well as take this one off. Take all that off. That's where our big AccuFab throttle body comes in. So this is the opening. That's the way that it comes. This goes right here, and then whoa, mega power. It's hard to get that because it's so shiny. And so this obviously is going to make the most power because this is the biggest throttle body. But what I wanted to show is I wanted to show what the change in power is and the change in boost from the different size throttle body. So we're effectively going from a 78 millimeter throttle body to 102 millimeter throttle body to this thing that flows probably over 2000 CFM. So we have a lot of airflow going in. In fact, that throttle body might actually flow more than the backside of this going into the blower. I'd have to flow test this to make sure to see what's going on. But at the very least, I can run the blower because I don't have other pulleys for it. So I can run the blower on the LS motor on the 5.3 liter, run this blower with this pulley and the factory. I'm a little concerned already about belt slippage because it is a 6-root belt run with the rest of the serpentine assembly. So I'm a little concerned about that, but I wanted to do some testing with it. So it is intercooled. We're going to run it with the 85. But when we run this, I wanted to be able to demonstrate at least a couple of tests. So one of them was a throttle body test. That's very simple. And we'll neck it down with a stock throttle body, see what happens. We'll put the bigger 102 throttle body on there with the adapter. Remember, all of this still has to go through this kind of opening. And then we'll put the big AccuFab oval throttle body on there and see what happens. We'll see what it does to boost. We'll see what it does to power. All of that will be great. But I have more to show you. So let's say that you were wanting to really test spacers, carb spacers particularly, which I want to also do a test in fuel injected mode as well, not just carbureted. I'm curious to see what's going to happen to the carb signal because I'm certain that that's going to change, but I want to find out also what happens. This is obviously changing plenum volume in the single plane intake manifold. So I also want to find out what happens from just that change, because the nice thing about fuel injection is we can make the air fuel be whatever we want. Sometimes when we do silly stuff like this, the carburetor says, yeah, that's all well and good, but now I'm not going to meter fuel the way that you want me to, because you really shouldn't be doing this. So I want to find out when we run it fuel injected, it will tell us more about what the change in plenum volume is and what effect this has, even if we keep the same air fuel in the same time. So that will be good. But as high as I could stack these up, and you can see we have a lot of them. We have about as many as I can find. I've got a little bit more room with my all thread, so maybe if I found one more spacer, we actually could do more. But what I wanted to do is not just this, I really wanted to go big. So with that in mind, I'll show you what I did to go big. So here we go. I don't even know if you're going to be able to. Yeah, you can't even see that on camera. So this is what we did to go big. I'm going to have to move you back. That's when you know things are getting serious. So there, now you can see, it. That kind of gives you an idea. This is here. This is way up here. What I did is make adapter plates. So I made, Troy helped me weld this stuff together. We made, I came up with this idea to just make basically flat plates, and I used the same material that I used to make my divider, a Home Depot special. This is 28 gauge. So all I did was cut, this is 4-inch tubing. I cut a section of 4-inch tubing. We welded it to 2 plates and then bolted the plates to adapter or to the open, the open carburetor spacers. And then that way I have one plate with a short section of pipe. I have another plate up here with a short section of pipe. And this is a big piece of pipe, 4-inch in between. The nice thing about this design is I'm going to be using couplers to hold this together. Right now it just has tape because, you know, time. But what I can do is I can make this basically any length that I want. Right now I'm not sure if this size will fit on the dyno, but because of the hood clearance, it might. But we want to see if it works. And if you're going to test something, the easiest way to do that is basically just to go to extremes. So people want to see, well, why can't you just keep stacking up carb spacers? Well, you can, and we're going to try that. But when you run out of spacers, you got to do something else. And it turns out that a 4-inch piece of tubing works very well to mate up to basically an open spacer for the carburetor. So this will be interesting. Right now, I just have it mocked up on a dual plane. I'm actually going to run this on this single plane intake manifold, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll see. It is tall, so it will tell us if there's anybody out there that's concerned with the stacking the spacers isn't big enough. This one should obviously be big enough. So that's what we worked on. That's what we worked on. That's what we worked on today. Lots of fabrication. So I'm going to go ahead and get you guys back in closer here. There we go. Now we can kind of still see it. I think that's good. So what I'm going to do now is obviously this stuff is kind of ready to go. I need to take this apart and then put the spacer in there because I still have to mark a couple of the holes. I've already done a drawing for it. So we've already got let's see if you won't be able to see that. Oh, there we go. So we already got a drawing done. So all I need to do is mark a couple of holes, put that spacer up, bolt together, and then that way it'll, it can be tested, come apart, go back together. That will be very easy. We will run this with, I think with this, the 5.3 liter has the Truck Norris cam in it, I believe. And so it should be making it around 425 or something, somewhere thereabouts. And then we'll just try it with a couple of different carburetors. I'll try a 650 and a 750 and, see what's going on there. Someone suggested that I should take the nitrous, put it on the top here and run the nitrous through. And I think honestly, given the fact we've injected nitrous in inlet tubes way before the throttle body and stuff, that the nitrous is just going to do what nitrous always does. But I don't think I'm going to try this on a dual plane, but maybe if there's time, an intake swap from a single plane to a dual plane actually is fairly simple. After I run the test on the carbureted intake manifold, I'm going to swap over and then we'll put the blower on, and it'll be a little bit of work to get all of that going. I went today to the bolt place. I got the button head bolts that I was talking about for the center valley so that the intake manifold for the blower goes on. Got all the long through bolts. I got all of the AN fittings for the intercoolers. All that is like scienced out now. All of that's ready to go. The only thing that I need to do, we know now that that this blower and this pulley lines up with the crank pulley, so we can do that. The only thing I need to do now is I need to go get all of the front accessory drive, which I have a complete accessory drive for the 5.3 because I've used it to test many times. I have those videos up on how much power each one of the things are worth, so you guys can check that out. But I have all that stuff. I need to put all of that on and then just basically figure out a belt length to also run the blower. He's got a fairly cool tensioner, or back basically is not a tensioner, it's an idler that goes, it gets tucked basically under the alternator. You got to move the alternator up to improve the belt wrap on the blower, which is very important so that we don't have belt slippage. All of that should work out really good. I foresee more than a few trips to the local auto parts store to finally get the right belt length. That's always an adventure with blower stuff. Nope, it needs to be 2 inches longer. That needs to be half inch shorter. You know, it's just there's nothing more frustrating than having to go to the auto parts store like 10 times. But it wasn't as bad as today when I went over to pick up all the bolts and then realized that I still had my wallet here at West Tech. And so, you know, drive back, pick it up, drive back. You guys have both done that. So that's what happened today. So tonight, after I get off, so I can't be staying late. I'm gonna put the 5.3 up on the dyno hopefully, and I should be making some dyno tests for tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping for. So let's get a poll going. Will the big spacer actually work? So poll for tonight: will this silly thing right here, this big carb spacer, will that actually work? I'm kind of curious myself. Yeah, everybody hit the like button. Yeah, there is a hood clearance issue on the dyno. Let's see if I can come down just a little bit. Yeah, there you go, Dan. Yeah, I actually have 2 spacers that have spray bars on them, so they can, you know, crisscross and stuff. You are invited to the dyno session, but it's not right now. Todd, you posted a video of your stuff? Cool. Define work. Will it run? Will it run? Will it make power? Will it do all that stuff? Did you guys see I shared they posted the dyno results. The guys from Holly posted the dyno results with relay that they ran here on the Skyram, which was cool. How about a small block Chevy timing belt conversion? You mean to go from a chain to a belt drive? You got to have the nitrous hooked up. They can't be vacuum leaks. Yeah, I think we'll take care of the vacuum leaks. I wonder who is going to bring that up. We could put the salad bowl on top of that, I guess. I don't know if there's gonna be room on this one for the salad bowl up on top of the ceiling. I don't know if I don't know if we'll have enough clearance. We'll see. We'll see what's going on. Richard, looking at this contraption, what effects would adding a multi-chamber muffler to the intake tract do? So you want to breathe through a muffler? I think a multi-chamber muffler would be restrictive. Will the big spacer actually do what I want it to do and make me feel like my idea is right? Well, that depends. Are you not going to tell us what your idea was and what you wanted to do until after we run it and then say, yes, this was my idea, this is what I wanted it to do? The thing that I talked about this, I talked to Brule about this when he first sent me over the dyno results a while ago. I wanted him to run it much lower than that, and I also wanted him to run it much higher than that, because I think that there may have been a second wave there. Lucifer, that's what we were talking about. I just said that they posted the Skyrim. I told them that I wanted to run boost on the Skyrim because I wanted to run, we wanted to run a single or twin turbos blowing up in the Skyrim. But they had, it was a 3D printed one, and so it was probably not strong enough for that. As it was, they had like tension rods in there with big washers and stuff to kind of hold the whole thing together. Yeah, I mean, I had this discussion with Scott earlier that, is this going to improve atomization? Is the fuel going to fall out of suspension? Is it going to offer more time for mixture? Is it going to have charge cooling? Should I put tornadoes in there, to swirl it around? There's an 871 on a tunnel ram sitting over here that Freiberger ran, and it works very, very well. It just does what a tunnel ram does. It does the same thing NA. It makes more power than a very short runner blower manifold does NA, so it makes more power like that under boost. The Skyrim was printed in multiple sections, and then it was glued together. Yeah, we need multiple tornadoes. And what I need to do is I need to do counter rotating tornadoes. So I need to get one of them from Australia and one of them from America so that they'll spin in the right directions. So an 871 and aftercooler would be too much on the Skyrim. I think it would just crush the Skyrim if you set an 871 on top of it. Is your question one silly enough to do stuff like this? Just I'm even gonna put a name on it. Yep, that's all you got to do is put a little tornado on there, and it will swirl that all the way in through the intake manifold into every intake runner, and then into the combustion chamber, and the swirl will be maintained in there and broken up evenly to all the cylinders, right, Troy?
Yeah.
See, Troy says yes. We know that that's a yes then.
Let's see if there's something more.
What do you need?
I'm looking for a O2.
All right. Say hi to everybody.
Hi.
T-Dog. He did the welding on that.
No, I didn't.
Look, all the welding looks perfect now.
Yeah. Silicone.
A little bit of silicone goes a long way. Yep, this is Super Richie. Spacer, he thought it was an thought that was Area 51 technology. No, probably not. I know they did a really nice job on the Skyram deal because it looked really cool, and it was just it's a perfect name. I mean, all of it is just really great. That was the one on Amelia's car. And then backfire. Wow, this just all negative panel. It's not going to have a burst panel. It has a burst panel if the carburetor is going to blow off the top of that thing. Needs a big velocity stack on top of the carburetor. It has a velocity stack under the carburetor. It only worked the giant Q-Jet. Funny you should mention that on this. There are a couple of Q-Jet Holley conversion adapters in there because it's just a big opening. It doesn't really care. But if I took that tube spacer out on a circle track, you probably would get laughed. I don't think it's going to work well for a circle track application. Scuba Sam, it's not aluminum. It's not a casting. It was 3D printed. See, then the question becomes, can I do that on a curved tube? Oh, the carburetors. I have to run side draft carburetors. Maybe a Dominator. I do have a we do have other spacers that are adapters, you know, from a 4150 to a 4500. They have quite a few of those here. See, that's what I think that's what would happen if we introduce the alternating the 4-hole and the open spacers. I think we could get mixer motion. Right now, this tube I don't think is. I'm a little worried about just falling over. You know, 28 gauge sheet is not very strong, but it was easy to work with. I could just use tin snips, which was nice. When I put the silicone couplers on it, it would be better. Although that does have Gorilla tape, so I did step up in the tape department. Yep, side drafts. We'd just make a Y out of it. Made these stabilizer wires. Yeah, I was wondering about that. I don't know how the throttle linkage is not going to work out. I don't think it's going to want to take throttle. We're going to have to run bars or something over the dynos to get it to want to cooperate. Although if we put the I don't know, it depends on how we're doing the linkage. I think the fuel will fall out of suspension, take a 6-foot by 3-foot strip of thin aluminum and clamp one end in a vise and if it backfires, there's no gaskets on any of these. Oh, there's one. So again, I'm not concerned about that. Imagine if the car ventures were that long. Yeah, they could go all the way down. So what I'm wondering is if we had 4-hole spacers and they had a dual plane manifold, would the signal still be just as good? And they just went all the way up, but it was that high? Did you get it from the Richmond refinery? That would be too far of a drive. Tom did some tuning on his truck with a 2.3 blower on his LS, the Ford blower, and he was making 15 pounds with a 2.5-inch pulley. Yes, it does. It does look like something Wile E. Coyote would have. Window screen and Flex Seal, that would be good. It would be better if that was a clear tube, right? Where can I go get a 4-inch clear tube to make that work? Yep, swirl and tumble combined together, Dean. Yeah, this wouldn't be very good for aero. They're running some sort of sand rail over there right now with I think a Whipple blower on it. Yeah, Tom is offering this setup for sale, the blower. So freelancer, you want me to run 2 carbs on this? So you want me to bolt this on top of another carb down at the base and run 2 of them? It does need polishing. Well, it needs cleaning before anything. I was originally planning on doing this with aluminum tubing, but because we could do the welding here, I didn't need to send it out. They have a bunch of different sand rails that they do. I think that one's doing about, I don't know, mid 600s or something in the tire. Waka, waka, waka. You could do it out of PCV pipe. I just did it with what stuff I have here, and this was just sitting there. It was a piece of tubing. Tim's looking for pizza. Probably gonna make a pull of here. Is he running that? Oh. Come on, Ash, let's hear it. Come on, make the run, make the run. See some power. Maybe he's doing drivability, I don't know. Yeah, this thing is high enough. We had to put the red and green lights on it so that you know what side to pass on. I have a question. Do you think that a pickup truck with bed-mounted turbos and a bunch of piping for the boost side, including an intercooler, gets heavier under boost? Do I think what? The tubing gets heavier? When you have more air in it and fuel, it would change a little bit. Now they're making pulls. I wonder if when you get to RPM and slam the throttle close, it will flatten the tube. PCV is probably not going to collapse, I don't think. But it'd have to be something fairly stout, because that could be more than 20 inches of vacuum. Yeah, I don't I don't know what the boost rating of that is. might be interesting experiment. Manifold adapters, a 2-inch hose, build an adjustable. Why would you do 2-inch hose? We're already doing that with 4-inch. What gauge is the tube? I don't know. It's muffler tubing, so you're not gonna hurt that. I came in late. I didn't know it had PCV. It doesn't have PCV inside. That's just steel tubing. That's just 4-inch steel tubing. I wanted to do aluminum, but just because it's easier, but I couldn't weld it. Richard, why do top fuels run zoomies? Because they give them downforce, and a traditional collector doesn't do that. And also, they don't have any problem making power. They don't care about more low-speed scavenging. On a remote mounted system, weight kind of evens itself out. I don't know what is the question about whether the air and the fuel in the tubing weighs something. I don't know why we would be concerned about that. And running aluminum tubing is not the same as running an intercooler. Yeah, this is probably not going to change. If we run it on a single plane manifold, I don't think we're going to add low speed power, but I think I suspect it's just going to be bad everywhere, but we'll see. Yeah, it could fall over. It is just taped together. Wait, I forgot about the silicone too. Because we didn't, or when Troy was welding it, we didn't weld the whole seam all the way around, just welded in spots. And then, so I just took, a thumb full of gray silicone all around everything else just to, to get the good seal. Not that the flimsy plate isn't going to not seal anyway. So we're not too worried about like part throttle drivability. It's all about wide open throttle and seeing what's going to happen. The downforce from a top fuel is substantial too. Yeah, Dan, if you take a look at a scuba tank, that's at 3,000 psi or something like that, and you're saying it adds 6 pounds. Look at nitrous. So you can add 10 pounds or whatever of nitrous. Should be a sliding tube, short start, throttle activated, so high RPM extends. You might actually want that to be the reverse, but on a top fuel dragster adds 7,000 pounds of downforce at the big end of the track. The 4-inch tube should ice up on the outside. If it's humid there, it probably won't do that if we're not running it on alcohol, but it should get cold. That was one of the comments I made when I was talking to somebody about it today, that tubing, because they were talking about running nitrous through it also, I told them that the tube's probably going to be pretty cold just from the fuel. You should do the next one with 4 individual tubes, like a 4-hole. See, I told you somebody would, and we were talking about this with this, is that you run 4-hole all the way down instead of open all the way down. I don't know if running 4 individual tubes, unless we start it as a 4-hole and then run 4 individual tubes, but they're still going to open up down into a common plenum. So I don't know. I don't think that that's going to change much. Maybe throttle response or something. How do you know the best initial timing? Initial timing is usually at idle. Not sure which way to vote in the poll, but I was thinking pressing the like button. I would recommend pressing the like button. We're only like at 50% here. Time to start drilling nitro sports. It has 2 kits on it already. On the car, it'll lose plenty of volume. It'll lose throttle response, probably so. Somebody mentioned something about a Formula One car being able to drive upside down. There's actually quite a few cars that can do that, not just Formula One. And Formula One is not a full downforce car. They're actually trying to trim downforce on some of the. They're balancing the amount of downforce that they have versus the amount of drag that they have. They could put a lot more downforce on it, so that they could be upside down basically at a slower speed. Someone donate me a 2001 4.8 liter harness. Scott, you have fish to feed? How about using 15 4-hole spacers and all thread? That's what this is. This already has that. I don't have 15 of them though. And then are you going to use the 4-hole spacers going into a single plane? Should a 4.8 have bigger than 2.5-inch exhaust pipes? It's not going to need that. Tony Randall was half the odd couple, along with Felix, which was he was the guy that played Quincy, Jack Klugman. Why only a 4-inch tube when the carb opening is 5+? 5+. You should go measure that again. No koi are cool, especially big ones that can swallow Volkswagens. You have a new 7.3 liter on the stand right now, just sticking a cam in it. Nice. And some ring gap. Nice. Twin 6762s. That should be good. .3 liter EcoBoost Lotus 7. The Lotus 7 is good. I like those. I thought you were going to say Lotus Esprit Turbo. Then that would have been quite a swap. So Casey, we need to weld the chili bomb in there. The chili bomb is small though. It's only 3 inches. Could the stack of spacers have a curve like a Holly? No, it won't do that because the runners are not all connected. The only way that they would be connected is if you did it into a dual plane potentially, but even then it's going to go into, it's a divided, so it's a common plenum for 4 cylinders. So it's still not runner length there. Plenum volume matters because it changes the Helmholtz resonance frequency, but how much does it matter? What are the best reversion plates for 630 to 2 carbs in a kid or notchers? I don't know what the last two things are. Hello World, there's a song that we're singing. Is that what you're talking about, Scott? Partridge Family? Yeah, this is probably more than 2 feet. It definitely is. It's this much. What header should I use for Genuine Coyote in California? What sound laws am I don't have any idea what they are, what the laws are, and there would be the people that you buy the headers from would tell you whether or not their emissions legal. Is it okay to run a TurboSmart 60 millimeter wastegate for twin 7875s? Where's the wastegate going to go if you're running twins? Runner length changes the reflected wave, which is a different thing. Technically, runner length also changes Helmholtz resonance because Helmholtz resonance is the resonating frequency of the volume of the plenum, the runner, the head port, part of the open cylinder, and the air intake tubes. The runner's part of that, but that's a very minor effect compared to changing the runner length, which changes the reflective wave when a supercharging effect comes down and happens in a particular piston position. Normally, when you want to have that happen is around bottom dead center. Gamera and Godzilla, yes, the spinning turtle. I wonder if he gets dizzy. Sort of like the Dodge Cross Rams. I'm going to build one of those because I've wanted to test one, the Sonic Rams, and I'm just going to build one. I think I'm going to build one for a late model Hemi. I mean, late model Gen 3 Hemi. Built a Gen 3 5.3, unsure of the year. I think it was early. Put MLS head gaskets on it and elite coolant externally from the head gaskets. What did I do wrong? Check and see. Some of the head gaskets have rivets that hold the head gaskets together. And if the rivet is in the wrong spot, the rivet is actually between the head and the block. So that's the first thing that I would check. How about putting turnouts on the bottom directed at the ports? So turnouts at the bottom of what? At the bottom of this? So you want a little divider at the end? Dodge Max Wedge, not the Max Wedge cross ram. The one that I'm talking about is a Sonic Ram. That's the one that goes all the way over the, out past the exhaust. Actually, that was fun. It was cool. This was obviously very easy. That was just all thread, but this was fun to do. But I was most excited at what took the most time was this adapter for this thing. And it's really, if you look at the adapter, it's nothing but a few holes and a couple of threaded sections and stuff. It's really pretty easy. But it was not. It took a lot of measuring because I measured multiple times before I cut. Mega Godzilla, yes. I did like the latest King Kong versus Godzilla movie. I like it when people come together. Yeah, Dan brought up a good point. If you're doing MLS gaskets, the surface finish have to be right, the RA number. So when you have them machined. They have to be machined specifically for MLS gaskets. Although I've put MLS gaskets on stuff that came from the wrecking yard after we took the other one off and put it on, and it worked fairly well. So you have to tune for the altitude change. We do. It has high altitude jetting in it. So to match the long runner intake, do you make a header extra long primaries? That way they both work together. You can do that, or you could go the other way and do the intake manifold's going to do all the low speed stuff, and then you could maybe extend the RPM range a little bit with a short primary header, or you could adjust the header and have it make no effect at all. Joshua, what is like the Dodge Viper manifold? The Dodge Viper manifold is a dual intake, right? At least the early ones were. They had 2 throttle bodies, 2 plenums, cross ram deal, but that's much, much shorter than what the Sonic Ram is that I'm talking about. The Sonic Ram was almost 3 feet. It would have been the equivalent of the Sky Ram, but laid over on its side as a cross ram and going to outboard carburetors. It was ridiculous. WLBI TV. WKRP. A cross ram is 4 feet between carbs. Have you been riding the 90 lately? Not since I've been down here at West Tech, obviously. But before that, yeah. Is that X or mega spacer divided, or I'm assuming open, so we'll see a weird similarity to the 2-inch spacer? Which one are you talking about? These are all open. That is open because it's just a tube. Chrysler cross ram used the heat from the exhaust manifolds. Yeah, because for drivability, it kind of was a problem. I want to see the 2.2 make some power. Me too. I'm excited about turbo testing. There's always so much to do when you get a turbo combination on there. Yeah, having the heat from the exhaust go up because they had, you know, for cold start and stuff, get the thing warmed up. I just sold my 91 Spirit RT. I almost bought one of those before I bought the Omni. Yeah, Lonnie Anderson from WKRP. Wasn't she married to Burt Reynolds back then? Let's see how our poll is doing. Will the big car spatial actually work? 2% saying yes. Make another run over there. Come on, stay in it. We want to hear the noise. Any chance of putting a divider in the tube? Why would I want to put a divider in there? And how am I going to put a divider in there? I have to cut some piece of tubing or some piece of metal. Was the 91 Spirit RT, was that thing running? Yeah, Howard Hessman, yeah, Dr. Johnny Fever. Corkscrew in the long tube. We don't even know if it works or not yet. It might work perfect. The Sky Carb will be different than stock. You mean with no spacer on it, you mean? But not much different than just bolting on an open 2-inch spacer. I think an open 2-inch spacer is not going to do very much. And I think this is going to do something. But I don't think it's going to be positive. But that's why we try it. The Chrysler intake manifold was cast iron. And they're really expensive to buy. And they need boost. Yeah, Jim, Bailey was the cutie one. She was like the assistant or something. My favorite episode was when they did the Thanksgiving giveaway and dropped turkeys. Although they said the turkeys couldn't fly, and I have seen plenty of turkeys fly. Maybe the ones that they got from the turkey store didn't. The Sky Carb, that's what you guys are calling it? Mud trucks with carburetors. We've tried remote carburetors before, actually for fuel injected manifolds, remote carburetors, and it kind of worked. Do you have 50cc accelerator pumps? It won't need accelerator for what we're doing for the engine dyno. It would need them if we were driving it, but are those cross arms over $2,000? I think when I was looking at the one I was looking at was 1,600 or something. This was a while back. The Spirit ran. It was white, yeah, with the original head and aluminum plugs. Nice. We see turkeys all the time up where I am, and I don't like seeing them because they scare the snakes away. They do eat snakes. So do peacocks. A lot of the farmers and ranchers have peacocks in their place to keep the snakes away. Where we are, the turkeys will, not in my town, but where Lisa's parents lived, and on the outskirts, and where my dad is and stuff, they just walk around. They walk down the street. Sometimes they pester people. Those Dodge Spirits were cool because they were the fastest sedan when they came out at the time. You wrote for Muscle Mustangs and Fast Forwards, right? Didn't you share offices with GM High Tech Performance? I didn't share offices with anybody because I was freelance, but I did write for Jim Camposano and for Evan Smith for a lot of years. 14.2 in the quarter. Yeah, and they were 140 something miles an hour, which is pretty fast back in the day, back in the 80s. Or was that? Oh, this is a 91 or something, right? So just looked up the Sonic Ram, had 30-inch runners and tuned for 2,800 RPM. The turkeys run around in gangs, packs or whatever you call it, a coven, I don't know, a flock. I gave it a Buick T-Type to Scott Parker. Those are cool cars. Should call the Sky Carb and polished plenum, like the polished cannons we shot tennis balls from. We just used the cans of the original cans of the tennis balls came in and taped them together. Yeah, a flock of turkeys sounds like an 80 band. Just less successful than the Seagulls, right? Why do my questions about the Truck Norris cam with a 6.2 keep getting deleted? Here are my hands. I'm not deleting anything. I haven't deleted. I don't think I've ever deleted a comment. I have gotten rid of people, but the Truck Norris cam will work fine in a 6.2. It'll work fine in every displacement LS. It wouldn't be my choice for a daily driver 4.8 probably. Gail, is Gail Banks your uncle? No, I do know Gail. I've met him. All right, Tyler, we'll see you. Do you make any revenue from the live show? That's not why I do the live shows. It's not like super lucrative. I don't know that I've ever had a wild turkey. Pheasant and dove, probably quail, but I don't know if I've ever had turkey. You were in fascist, you were in timeout yesterday? I don't remember putting you there. If the comment is too long or you use gamer words, YouTube will delete it. What's a gamer word? Like Donkey Kong? Is that a gamer word? I was wondering if I'd be able to swap out the LH6 in my Envoy and throw in an LY6 without too much hassle. Is the LH6 a VVT motor? Because the LY6 definitely is. You're going to have programming. You're going to have programming, but does anybody know what the flex fuel injectors flow? The stock ones? Somebody who has a question whether or not those will work with a cam. I don't remember flowing any. Here in Florida, you guys got gators. You guys also have snakes and Burmese pythons and all kinds of stuff. If the spacer at the bottom was smaller, it could increase pressure and velocity. I have not heard from. I need to send Julius. Thanks, Tom. I need to send Julius an email and see what's going on. Any chance you'll talk to your friend about the L88 heads? I don't think he's interested in getting rid of them. I can ask him. I'm down here though. Larry, I have super chats open, and people are obviously people have done that before. A flex fuel injector is 64 pounds an hour. Non-VVT, but it is DOD. So you're swapping in a VVT motor. So your computer's not set up for that. And probably the harness is not set up for that either, unless you get rid of the VVT, which is certainly possible. I know that flex fuel injectors couldn't have been 1,000 cc's from the factory, right? With the truck north, will the truck north? I'm sure that should be will the truck north cam give the same kind of results in a 6.2 L92 as a 5.3 test? Would the truck north cam give more power throughout the curve in a 6.2 than a BTR stage 1, 2, 3, or sloppy best? A truck Norris doesn't make more power at the top than a sloppy best does. That sloppy best cam is a bigger cam, so it makes more power on top, as demonstrated by on the 5.3. So the 6.2 would also do that. Yeah, the invasive species in Florida. Also iguanas too. And I think monitor lizards as well. The Dodge used rubber hoses for runners and changed the hose for tuning runner length. Stock LQ4 injectors are not going to be enough if you put a cam in it. My stock Suburban computer says my stock flex fuel injectors are 33 pounds. That's kind of a number that would be more realistic, I think, for me. Ali, I just read your old article about eliminating VVT. It's easy to do. What would you pick between a performer with a 4-hole spacer or a performer RPM without a spacer? I've never run that exact test. I think that it would be combination specific, but an RPM, a performer RPM, I think is going to be better than a performer. We have fishers in Pennsylvania that are going after the turkey eggs. Turkey population is down. What are fishers? Are they another kind of bird or something? I'm not familiar. They also have out in the ranch that we had, they have wild pigs out there too that come in and root everything up. I guess they're really bad in Texas. Would like to see variable length variations of the Skyram for all the high torque, low RPM applications like LS powered stump grinders and lawnmowers. Fishers are like weasels. Oh, okay. Like martins and stuff. Overbuilt. Did you see? We got stacks, and then we have that monstrosity. An LM7 is not 33 pounds. An LM7 is more like 24. Dan, there's no shortage of hunters in California. That's not why the turkey population is going up, is the turkeys have moved. They have actually relocated themselves to areas where hunting is not allowed, like in town. Skyrim would do great on LS swapped wood chippers. Richard, would the Skyram be good on a burnout car? I don't think so. If you saw where the like enhanced torque production was, it was fairly limited. I think most burnout cars are running RPM, aren't they? How much boost do you think a turbo LSX 454 could take before head gasket problems, like 15? I don't know about the LSX 454 because I don't know what the specs are on it. But we've run lots on the like B15s and the B8 crate motors, but I don't know what the LSX 454 has in it. Yeah, anytime you shoot, everybody else, like with the turkeys, they all just leave, and that's the same way with squirrels too, because they have a guy out at the ranch that goes around and he tries to get rid of the ground squirrels because the cattle that they dig up the holes and stuff, and so they're all doing it with the spring-loaded air rifles like the 22 caliber pellets. Yeah, Scott, we we got what eviscerate means. Yeah, the ground squirrel's a problem out at the ranch, and also the like I said, the wild pigs too. L59 is LM7 with flex, so it's not an LM7. It's a different engine, right? Because if it's a flex fuel, then that's why they have bigger injectors than an LM7 has. There's a reason for that. That's why I said an LM7 doesn't have 33-pound injectors. I know because I've gotten probably 50 of them. Will these spacers and long runner manifolds be useful in truck pull applications? I don't know. I don't know never seen data logging from a truck pull. I don't know what RPM they're running it in and stuff. And I don't even think that this is going to work. I doubt that we're going to see very much other than what one spacer does, and we'll see. I don't know if planet volume is going to have any effect on it. Ozzy, you need to pick an injector that size for the power output that you're making. A 6-liter with a stage 2 truck cam, or you have a dome piston, so some kind of compression. I don't know what the head is, and I don't know what the intake manifold is, but let's say that thing makes, I don't know, let's say it makes 500. So you need to size it for the injector needs to flow enough to support 500. So Grant, you have a 63 C3 Corvette with an LS3 6L80. Nice. Got into an episode of Motor Trend. That's good. Can you use a factory flex fuel stuff to do E85? Yeah, you can. How much power do you think a GT45 will support on a 2.2-liter 4-cylinder? I don't know. I still think you're going to run out of something. I just think that you're not going to run out of the hot side on a 2.2-liter. And if it's a 2.2-liter 4-valve, more than if it's a 2.2-liter like I have. Yeah, you guys taking off? Yeah. All right, Troy. Yeah, the ground squirrels are pretty crazy. There's a lot of them, and the big big bushy California gray squirrels or whatever. I remember being in college and sitting there, and they just walk right up to you and like sit down next to you, and they're like, "Hey, what are we having for lunch? And how much of it are you sharing with me?" I don't think a fisher is big enough to take on a honey badger. So I'm going to go ahead and close out, Mike, because it's getting time to go. So we got 72% saying yes, that they think that the spacer will actually work. That's good. Are you selling the supercharger behind me? No, that doesn't belong to me. We're going to run that on the LS. Do you have a video up with a GT45 turbo on a 462 valve? I did run a 462 valve, and there is a video up with a turbo version. I honestly can't remember. I think I did run the GT45 on it. I did a test for Hot Rod where we ran a stock 2 valve and a stock Hemi and a stock LS, all with a turbo, and we didn't run a lot of boost with it to show what the stock thing did and what they do under boost. And I thought it was a GT45. Oh, really, Dan? She trained the Cadbury Lion? Does it really make that noise? Six-liter LQ4 215 Flowtech heads. I don't know what that is. DHCC chamber, sloppy stage 3 cam, fast, 85, 32 degrees, 175 shot. Does that have, you must have pistons that have valve reliefs in that combination? Because I don't think that sloppy stage 3 cam will fit with a stock piston to valve clearance. What kind of boost numbers are you guys hoping for? I'm not hoping for anything. We're just going to see what it does. I'm guessing with a 275 pulley on a 5.3 with a truck Norris cam that it could get up to 1 extra atmosphere maybe. One more minute. Flat top Weiss goes with 6 cc valve reliefs. That's what I thought. I've never seen anybody tell me that. I've never measured it, but just from the specs, it looks like it won't fit stock piston to valve clearance. So I just wondered. Just try to get, it's always more information. Yes, it clucked like a chicken, Scott. That's what I was asking him. Okay, guys, I got to get going. Thank you all for showing up. Hopefully, for too long, I'll have testing on that over there, the blower. I'm leaning back hopefully with all the throttle bodies. So that will be good. And I also have you guys didn't get to see it, but I'll turn you around real quick so you guys can see it. I have the short block done on the 4.8. It's got the cam, lifters, all that stuff in there. So I did clean out the heads a little bit, and I'm going to do a little bit more work on them because I think that they're, especially there were 2 cylinders that were just filled up with crud. I don't even know how well it worked. And I'd also be worried about that stuff actually breaking off and going in. And I wouldn't worry about what's on the piston. If it goes in there, it'll get broken up and get thrown out. I'd be kind of worried about it maybe getting and sticking a valve or something and bending the valve. So as soon as I fix those will just go on, and that thing should be a runner. I want to run that thing before I leave so that we know that it's a good contender and can do more testing with it. Thank you guys all for showing up. I will see you all tomorrow. And we're out.